19 hours on her. What's up today, boys and girls? Today I'm going to tell you about my first issue that I've had with my new 592 XP Husqvarna. Now I want to start off by saying, if you guys have been watching my videos, I've had this 572 for a long time. I've cut a lot of wood with this saw, and this saw still to today has been totally flawless. Like, I've literally replaced the fuel filter, air filter, and spark plug once, which was actually just probably a few months ago, and this saw has been 100% always works when I need it to. Now this saw, my 592, as you can see, there's something different about it already. The sticker's missing off the side cover, blah blah blah. It happens. But anyway, I was using this saw it was a week ago now, I guess, last Monday, and I burned a full tank of fuel, and the saw was performing great. I've got the 8-tooth sprocket onto it. Again, if you've been following my videos, you'll know that I have that done. If you're not, if you own one of these 592s, an 8-tooth sprocket is an awesome upgrade if you're not running a crazy long bar. I'm running a 20-inch on this, which seems to be a good application for doing firewood, but I may go up to like a 24. But there's loads of power there with that 8-tooth. It doesn't cut it back much. So anyway, back to my issue. I burnt my first tank. Saw was working great. I'd fueled it up, give it a little bit of a break. I was having a sandwich or something, and I grabbed the saw after about a 10-minute break of junking firewood. I had burnt the full tank prior to that. I grabbed the cord, hit my decompression, give it a pull, and the pull cord come out in my hand. It was still fastened to the saw. It didn't break the pull cord, but it had sprung out, and so initially I thought, oh, I probably broke the spring in here. It's, you know, years ago is a pretty common thing. Not so much with the 5 series from my experience, but anyway, you know, first thought was the spring. It can happen. So anyway, this saw is relatively new. It's pretty expensive. I paid like 1,800 Canadian for this, I believe. I was one of the first people to have it in Nova Scotia, and I bought it from a local shop down the road here, Colin Hughes' Diesel. They're a great bunch of guys down there. Their whole service team is awesome. Good guys to carry along with. So anyway, I showed up there with my saw Monday afternoon with the pull cord out, and the first guy was tormenting me. He said, oh, well, that's not going to be covered under warranty. I said, well, what do you mean? I said, anyway, my cousin works there, so my cousin took it out back and plugged it in, and this saw has 19 hours onto it. I'll show you the hour thing here in a minute in the video. 19 hours on her. So it has like 19 hours on it, not quite, and it's been started 128 times, and the pull cord was fully extended, wouldn't retract on its own. And I actually did try taking a file and reeling it back in my yard to see if I could get it to start the second time, but it wouldn't catch and it wouldn't start. So anyway, my cousin Lloyd plugged it in. He said, oh yeah, he said there's only 19 hours onto it. So we took these 4 Torx bolts out and popped the side cover off. As soon as we popped it off, it snapped and everything started spinning, and it back reeled and seemed like it was gonna work. But then as we took a closer look, we noticed that this here has busted one of the ears or teeth, whatever you want to call it. But it sheared that right off, and the 2 little springs on the air inducer, one of them was actually stuck in that crevice, which was what was causing it not to start. So long story short, this saw is supposed to be a 5-year homeowner warranty. I do a lot of firewood because I cut most of the firewood for my family members, so I do my own plus all theirs in return of favors and food and, you know, cooked goods, whatever. But when you pay like $1,800 for a saw, you don't really want to have troubles in like the first few months of owning it. Like, I'm pretty sure I've had this saw now 2 if not 3 years, and literally flawless, no problems whatsoever. Now I'm not downing this 592 because this saw performs like God Almighty. This thing is like an absolute beast. I can cut way more firewood per tank with this one than I can with the 72, and this thing just rips through it like paper. But anyway, what ended up happening was, once we figured out what was wrong and the spring was good and all that, we searched this part to try to order it. And this part from Husky is like 3 or 4 months on back order. Apparently they don't have any of them. So that was a little upsetting to hear. So I said, well, that's, you know, we got to come up with an alternative here. I need the saw before then. I use it on a pretty much every other daily basis, right? So what they ended up doing was, Maddie, which is Colin's son, and again, these guys are great. Maddie called Husky and said he wanted a whole new complete side cover because the side cover was listed that we could get it, you know, ASAP, you know, within a few days, compared to this thing's on back order. But this thing is built into the side cover and is part of it, so it doesn't really make sense, you know, in that aspect of things. But regardless, they called me this afternoon and they said, your saw's ready. And I stopped down, and Maddie had originally told me that they were going to get the new side cover and just rob this piece and put it in my side cover, but my side cover had a couple little scratches and imperfections, so they were nice enough that they just put this whole complete unit on. And Husqvarna went good for it on warranty, so it cost me absolutely no money. This was all totally free. I didn't have my saw for a few days, which wasn't a big deal because I still have this one. But it was just nice and reassuring knowing that, you know, after you spend this kind of money on a Husqvarna product, and, you know, I can honestly say I've bought a lot of saws with the company I work with and for myself, and Husqvarna usually makes a pretty flawless, pretty high performance tool for the most part in my experience. And it was just really nice to have this all fixed up, all completely under warranty, at no cost to me. They brought me the saw out, and this is funny because I know everybody's noticing the sticker missing. They give me the saw back, and they said, well, if you want us to, we can order a new sticker and put on there because it's different than the one that you had. And I said, no, you know what, you went good onto it. A sticker's really not that important to me. It's, you know, pretty evident which one's the 92 visually when you look at these. So I'm not overly concerned about this. If I really was, I can just get the wife to make one up with her Cricut vinyl cutter and be done with it. But end of the day, they warrantied it, they fixed it for free. I have my saw back and it's in perfect working order. It did have a few codes on it when it was plugged into the scanner. You probably noticed them there when I showed you the screenshot. So when it was plugged into the scanner, it wouldn't go through its throttle process on the Husqvarna software on the laptop. So what Lloyd ended up doing was he loaded the most updated software into the computer of this thing, which it didn't have yet. So when he uploaded all this new software update, or whatever you want to call it, it then went through the full sequence with the trigger or the throttle, and he said the thing's good to go. There's no issues with it. So very pleased with that. Everything that was wrong with it, again, is dealt with and at no cost to me.